When I was 3 years old, I was adopted and brought to America from the country of Kazakhstan. I had lived in an orphanage all my life, and even though I was 3, I still couldn't speak. If I hadn't been adopted by my parents, the chances are very good that I would have remained in the orphanage until the age of 16. At that time, the orphanage personnel would have been forced to turn me out into the streets. With no real job skills, I probably would have been kidnapped or sold to someone with very bad intentions. Barring a miracle, it is likely that I would have been trafficked into the sex trade. Human trafficking is an enormous problem worldwide. According to the Florida Department of Education, there are approximately 30 million people enslaved throughout the world, with 2.5 million located right here in the United States. As a matter of fact, every 2 minutes another child is trafficked in the U.S. Florida is a big problem because it's such a huge tourist destination, and the third worst state in the nation with a number of reported human trafficking cases. Asia, my birth continent, is also a huge destination for trafficking, especially in the countries of India and Nepal. Sarah Davis and Tracy, in her soon-to-be-published book, No Longer Untouchable, that 12,000 Nepali girls each year are trafficked out of Nepal for the purpose of sexual exploitation and profit. Once sold or trafficked to a brothel, the girls are forced to stay until their purchase price, often called their debt, is paid back. It is nearly an impossible task and too large to ever repay. Despite the reality, they are made to have sex with as many 60 men each night. The living conditions are unimaginable and inhumane. The very identities of these little girls, often sold before they reach 10 years old, are intentionally and utterly diminished to nothing. Death surrounds in the bonds, suicide is common, forced abortions are regular, and when a girl becomes too sick to service the customers, she is left to die. The very lowest of the untouchable caste, the body people, are a big target of traffickers. These people live in a hot, dusty rural part of the far west of Nepal that few know or care about. They're just sort of invisible people who make perfect trafficking targets. Routinely, very young girls are drugged, kidnapped, lied to, coerced, and ultimately sold to brothels. Less than 1% of these unfortunate individuals are rescued from brothels and now live free. They are the lucky ones who are given a new start at life. Even though a very few now and then are rescued, many millions will never be free. There are very few places in the world where this human rights atrocity hasn't yet reached. Suburban America and Europe, middle-class neighborhoods with white picket fences, rich high schools, private and sleepy little towns that look idyllic and safe. As part of my research, I went to this place in Apopka called the Lifeboat Project. Jill Cohen is the co-founder of the Lifeboat Project. I met her and also talked to a woman named Magdalia Roman. The Lifeboat Project is a place that helps women that have been trafficked by providing resources, support, and counseling. They work with law enforcement in 4 counties, Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and Lake County. They also work with FBI and other state agencies. They consult with victim advocates in the state attorney's office to see if any kind of victim needs assistance. They then offer medical assistance and partner with licensed therapists and medical personnel. They also have a group of volunteers that mentor the women. While I was visiting the Lifeboat Project, Miss Roman told me about the experience of a young woman who had been trafficked. She stated that some time ago, this young woman went on a website called Backpage looking for modeling jobs. She was so excited to get her modeling career started. However, she was kidnapped here in Florida at a hotel where she was trafficked for 3 years and then finally rescued. Ultimately, the Backpage website was shut down by the government, as it was a huge source for trafficked individuals to be exploited. The Lifeboat Project is also working with 2 formerly trafficked women who are now attending Valencia College. The organization has interceded on their behalf and their tuition has been waived. Their apartments are also being paid for, as long as they're going to school full-time. The Lifeboat Project has volunteers that help around their campus by doing work in the garden, creating flowers or postcards for upcoming events, or mentoring trafficked individuals. Ms. Roman gave me a tour of the place. It was so encouraging to see such a lovely organization in my very own town. Human trafficking is not really talked about so much in our society, which is a shame. It really should be front and center because it's such a huge worldwide problem. Thankfully, there are many compassionate people who are trying to make a difference in their very own communities. In Polk County, a county not too far away from Disney World, Sheriff Grady Judd is trying to end the slavery of sex exploitation. According to the FightTheNewDrug.org, he and his people have arrested 277 traffickers in his undercover operation. These traffickers have included doctors, pharmacists, a teacher, and even former law enforcement, including one of his former officers that had been working on the police task for 17 years. Even an Air Force veteran. People we think of as heroes that save lives, teach our children, and fight for our country. According to Justice.gov, bringing human traffickers to justice and assisting trafficking survivors are top priorities of the U.S. Department of Justice. The department's anti-trafficking efforts involved investigations, prosecutions, service for victims, trainings, enforcement, and outreach initiatives to strengthen anti-trafficking partnerships. The Florida Department of Education has come up with a catchy slogan: "If you see something, say something. Trafficking will only end when ordinary people like you and me wake up, look around, take action, and start trying to help those who are trapped in silence." Some of the places you can report problems are the National Human Trafficking Hotline, 1-888-373-7888. You could text the Be Free text line at BeFree-233-733. You can also find out more information about trafficking at YouCouldsTopHT.com. You never know. Perhaps someday, you will be the person who changes or even saves the life of someone who's been trapped by human trafficking.